The sequence hits on a motivation on Ali as he drives off to Ali's meetup point, the place where she's always at, which was kind of explained in the dialogue when they met that crowd of people. Ali is mad at him, and I'm so blank because all the girls are pissed. I think the impression we're supposed to get is that he stood her up after all that bullshit that happened. I'm not sure what he did wrong,
Right.
but okay, whatever. As she walks off, the girls try to get him to stop and explain what happened after he left. He apologizes to her, and she forgives him immediately, and they're together again, and she will be there at the main event. The scene ends
Do you
with
think?
her driving the
Do you
car.
think Daniel? Do you think Daniel was a good boyfriend?
I think it's a great one. Because here's the thing, you're a human being. Here's the thing. I think if you're getting viciously bullied and something terrible is happening to you, you can't be a good boyfriend. Fundamentally, it's like if you're sick. You know what I
That's
mean?
why. That's why I'm asking. That's why I'm asking this question
Yeah.
because I'm also thinking about like characters like Spider-Man, especially like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films,
Yeah.
where he's mostly either Spider-Man or delivering pizzas or taking photos for John Jenna Jameson or with Aunt May, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he barely has time for Mary Jane, and even if when he does, it's brief. I don't think they spend that much time together because she's also acting and all of that.
Well, just
And
remember this. Yeah. Yeah.
and when he even has time to and try and watch her stuff, he's either late or whatever. So
Okay. Now there's two ways of
because
looking at
I'm
it.
trying to
Yeah.
look at it from the girlfriend's point of view, not from our perspective. Because from our perspective, everything is justifiable. But
Yeah.
from their perspective, from the character's perspective, the girlfriend's perspective.
Well, the way I see it is, it's kind of like dating someone who's sick. There's things that they
Right.
can't do. There's things that they just can't, that won't satisfy you, that they just can't do, right? If you got like cancer or something like that, then you have to put in extra work. The only problem is you can't pretend to be normal and then have that kind of relationship. So I
Yeah.
think when it's a
Yeah.
mutual thing of understanding, so Ali understands what's going on with Danielson. She's been briefed. It's not a secret. She understands the beef that's there, even though she doesn't like it. She understands that it's not Daniel's fault. Daniel's not trying to hunt these problems. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think I mentioned this before that she's very emotionally intelligent.
Yeah.
Because I don't think a lot of girls her age would have given Daniel so many chances or would have been as understanding as Ellie around that time and around that age because some people could have just said, dude, you're wasting my time.
But that's the thing,
Or
though.
there's
I
just too
think
much drama here. I'm
I think
not gonna be involved.
that's the mind frame you got to think of it at. Is it's not about giving chances. I mean, if you're a nurse and you got to go to the nurse's office to do your medical work, that's not me giving you a chance. That's the agreement that you understood coming in. And Ali came in understanding. Remember the Danielson thing happened day one. Do you know what I mean? Literally the day
But
they met.
I think you're just proving my point though, that she was very emotionally intelligent from the jump. Because teenagers,
Well, I mean,
not all
she
teenage
does
girls
end
would
up
have
throwing a fit
understood.
and leaving, and then he has tried to win her back. So I mean, it's not like, oh, she understands the whole time. But I do understand what you're saying, yes. But I think that's a big difference from Mary Jane. I think that's a very big difference from Mary Jane. I feel like, especially talking about Sam Raimi Spider-Man, Mary Jane was going through her own problems at the same time and needed help
Yeah,
but couldn't get it from Spider-Man. And at the same time, she couldn't give it either because she's dealing with her own stuff.
right.
Especially talking about Spider-Man 2, the best Spider-Man, then yes, absolutely. I think that then Peter was a bad boyfriend and she was a bad girl. They were literally incompatible.
Mm,
Because yes, she missed his stuff. It's not just about that. It's about she fucking flopped, and there was no one there to be like, it's gonna be okay. He
right,
was like, oh, I just found out. Oh, great, it's been a week. I'm glad you just found out. Do you know what I mean?
right.
So they were fundamentally incompatible. They couldn't accommodate each other because they each got their
Yeah.
own specific
They were just
problems.
not on the same page. Yeah.
They couldn't be.
Yeah.
And in a way, I think if
Okay.
you're an actor, you kind of have to be a little narcissistic. So I don't even hate Mary Jane. I feel like, yeah, it is kind of It is literally the You show. If you know what I
No,
mean.
but let's be honest, like Mary Jane in that entire trilogy, it was all about her. She just made it about her, whether she was aware or not aware, subconsciously. And I think that's why relationships like that never really work out, even in the real world, because if you're constantly chasing somebody, I mean, if you remember from the first time, from the first one, he was always taking photos of her. He was, you know what I mean? He was always trying to
Yes.
get her attention.
Yeah.
And when she finally gave him a chance, then it's all about her and her acting. You know, it's like he's still chasing her. He's still going.
But now
It's,
here's the thing. Yeah. But now
so
here's the thing.
it's like, and I
Yeah.
think that's why. I mean, how many people did she date in that trilogy? She dated like 4 or 5 guys, because
Yeah.
it was Harry,
Mm-hmm.
right? It was Flash.
Mm-hmm.
It was John Dana Jameson's
Son.
son,
Yes.
and it was Peter. So it was four people. You know what I mean? Like, it's just attention seeking, dog, whether she knows it or not.
It's lashing out, definitely. Especially in the second one, you could probably argue it's more lashing out. But at the same time, hey man, if our relationship is you're the more energetic one, and then suddenly you stop being energetic, then I could make the argument that, this wasn't the deal when things started. If you understand what I'm saying. With Mary
But
Jane
was
in
there
number
a
one,
deal that I'm gonna be energetic? You know what
there's
I mean?
clearly a deal. And you're the one taking photos of me and doing all these things. You come in with the heat, and then you suddenly switch off. And now I must give you.
It's not a deal. Okay, I get what you're saying. Expectation, yes, but it's not a deal.
Yes, okay,
Because
it's not a physical agreement. Agreed, yes.
yeah, no.
But
Yes,
human
there's an
beings rely on
expectation.
patterns. Yeah, it's a pattern. You've built a
Yeah,
pattern in
but
my head, and then it's switched to. I don't get me wrong. I agree. She lacks the
we could talk
emotional.
about this for
Yeah,
days, but yeah.
yes, she lacks the emotional intelligence to
Yes.
adjust.
Yes.
Because at the same time she's struggling too. Because it kind of
Yes, which is fair. Yes.
I think if they'd had enough time with each other without the Spider-Man stuff, it would have been a proper relationship. And then when the Spider-Man shit came back, then she would have adjusted. But that's not how it happened.
Right.
That's not how it happened. So
Right.
because we forget that Mary Jane had a bad life. Like Peter
No, she
Parker was
did.
a
Like
nerd.
she was always arguing with her. Was it her dad or her
Stepdad,
uncle?
I assume it's a stepdad. I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, like an abusive family home. The only time she's appreciated is when she's Flash Gordon's girlfriend. Do you know what I mean? Which is fascinating. See, I love stuff like this because when you think about it, you're like, okay, let's paint this picture of what Mary Jane is.
It
She's
was Flash Gordon. So,
yeah.
what?
I know I called him Flash Gordon on purpose, yeah. But Mr. McCool, and then Mr. McCool gets beaten up senseless by the nerd of the group, who turns out to be kind of a badass. And
Yeah.
clearly she's seeking something that she found in Flash Gordon. And
Right.
then it gets knocked. I almost feel bad for Flash now that I think about it. He got his girlfriend beat out of him.
Yeah. And if you remember, he didn't do anything wrong. I know that Flash is a bully in the comics and whatever, but he didn't do any. Peter's the one that I think
he
like
didn't do anything brutal. Let's put it like that. I would say, yeah.
shot a web at him or something. I don't remember what he did.
Something happened. I think he bumped him. Something. I think he pulled something against because the spider web like pulled
Like the
something.
food or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and then before that, no, that's different. That's a different scene. But something happened, and then because I remember he yanked someone's shirt off, but it had nothing to do with that at that time. But something happened with his spider powers, and then I think he bumped into Gordon or something like that, and then Gordon's like, "Oh hell no!" And then it escalated to a fight, and then yeah, Gordon got his girlfriend knocked out of him. Yes, they shook a girlfriend out of him like loose change, and yeah,
hey dude.
And Mary Jane, who apparently, do you think Mary Jane is looking for a strong person or someone to like with high gravity, like someone with a good aura, or is she looking for just the strongest person?
You know, nowadays they would say something like, because she's dealing with a toxic man at the house, she's used to toxic masculinity, so that's what she was looking for. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah, I
You've
know
heard
what you
stuff
mean.
like this before.
Yeah.
But perhaps it's just hypergamy, just looking for someone who's stronger, who has more control of the situation, who's in charge, a leader type of. There's
Maybe,
nothing.
yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
And also another way of looking at it is she's looking for peace and security.
Yes.
What's safer than the big guy, than the biggest guy in school?
Than someone who protects you. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Exactly.
what's safer than
that's what I'm saying, hypergamy. It makes sense. It's not there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. I mean, and then once he gets the taste knocked out of his mouth by someone who wasn't even trying, what's safer than someone who clearly has a side job, works hard, achieves good results in school.
Yeah, and he lives next door.
That's pretty safe too.
Right.
It's a way of looking at it. It's a food for thought type thing. But anyway, that tangent. Let's wrap that tangent up. Okay.